We're really honored on the sidelines of the sessions today and delighted to meet with Miss Christabel Phiri. Miss Christabel Phiri is an executive manager at South Africa Trust, and she's sharing with us here at COP27. Hello, Christabel, and it was really nice to meet you today. Tell me more about your participation at COP and more about also South Africa Trust.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having us at the Now TV. Firstly, I would like to just share briefly about the Southern Africa Trust. We are a regional organization that is based in Johannesburg, South Africa, and we are working to support efforts, work with citizens groups in Southern Africa, really advancing and on policies, working on policies to address issues related to poverty reduction, as well as addressing inequalities. And then secondly, I would just like to say that this African COP, as we call it, is very important because this is the opportunity for African countries to really share what has been the impact of climate change on the livelihoods of African citizens. This is the opportunity for us to really push in terms of getting the assistance from the more developed countries in helping us to address some of the challenges that have emerged due to climate change. For African countries, we have seen the devastation in terms of the floods, the extreme heat that we've been experiencing in African countries. We've seen how citizens have been displaced because of the flooding. We've also witnessed to a lot of changes with regards to what we actually need to do in relation to our production of things due to climate change. So this is an important opportunity, I must say, for African countries to just put this forward. Yes. And to see what needs to be done.
Definitely, it is a very important opportunity, a golden opportunity for Africa, especially that Egypt is talking the African voice at COP27, we talk about challenges, but there are also opportunities. How do you see opportunities here at COP27 for Africa, also talking Africa sustainability, sustainable development?
So I think there are a couple of opportunities. First of all is our preparation as a continent. You know, how do we contribute towards reducing and preventing the climate crisis and devastations within the continent? We have a role to play as African countries, and this is the opportunity to say, what do we need to do? The first thing is around how we begin to transition. And transition from, for example, in the energy sector, that we begin to adopt more renewable energy as sources of our energy, so investing in renewable energy. The second aspect with regards to how we produce our food or any other things that we need, how do we begin to put in mechanisms for us to begin to adapt, you know, in terms of climate smart methods, for example, with regards to agriculture, so that we are also playing a part in terms of reducing the impacts of climate change. So obviously, one of the key opportunities out of this COP, the first is we need the resources, you know, to build our capacity. In order for us to go into the renewable energy, we need the capacity, we need the technology. So how do we use this COP to ensure we unlock the resources to enable us to build our capacity in order to be able to set up all these new sectors? The other aspect is really around how do we work together, how do we coordinate as African countries? This is a big opportunity for African countries to work together and be able to identify what is our comparative advantage in a specific sector, and then we work together towards really implementing measures and contribute towards reducing the global emissions around that are affecting the globe in relation to climate change.
Yeah. Talking sustainability, prioritizing our files has been also very important. Talking women empowerment, because women definitely have a very important role to play as a nucleus of the family, vis-a-vis also providing incentives. And the media has a very important role to play also regarding awareness. So women empowerment in Africa and climate change. How do you see the correlation?
So first of all, I think that's a very important question. When you look at the COP discussions, the women empowerment conversation is not being put forward. Yes, there is a thematic session which is focused on gender, which is great that as Egypt, as a host country, they've prioritized the gender and looking at that component as a thematic focus area. So this is really the opportunity to really impact, because with regards to the climate crisis, women are the most affected. So when you talk about flooding within the African continent, most women are the ones who are affected with regards to displacement. They have to look for new places to go and live. They have to migrate. You know, when it comes to changing, so for example, there is a push with regards to the just energy transition where countries will begin to move away from fossil fuels. But if you look at the African continent, most women are producing charcoal, which is one of the core fossil fuels, but that's their main means of livelihood. So if women stop producing charcoal, for example, what are they going to do? So there is need to really focus on saying, as we are trying to transition to help curb climate change, how do we prioritize women?
What sort of incentives can we provide? What sort of alternatives can we do?
So first of all, with regards to women in Africa, number one is that we need to give them capacity. We need to give them finance to help them to move away from the sectors that are related to climate change. So if women are involved in the fossil fuel sector, let's give them skills, you know, so that they can invest in different economic activities, be able to do new trades, but they need the skills and they need the resources. So we need to put programs there to help in terms of building their capacity with regards to skills and transferring new skills to women, which takes them away from sectors that are climate change related and be able to work in other sectors. So what I would really call for is for countries to prioritize this conversation in this COP, to say that women should obviously be at the center of it because they're the most impacted. We've also seen that even in South Africa with the flooding that had happened, women were displaced, a lot of women, you know, and their means of livelihood was really cut, but there's been no prioritization with regards to supporting women in this regard.
Right. Well, a final message, Christabel, a message from you, from the mother of the world, maybe to countrymen seeing you right now in South Africa. What would you tell them from Egypt?
So I think the main message is that we have to act now. We cannot continue to postpone. I think out of this COP, what we would like to see is implementation. There's been a lot of political statements, political decisions that we're working together. We need the commitment to act now. You know, there's for countries that have been affected, especially African countries with loss and damage, there's need for more resources to support African countries. But we need to move away from political statement and commitment to say that here's the resources and can you get to work and can we work together to really stop the impact of climate change.
Definitely. Ms. Christabel Pierre, who is the Executive Manager at South Africa Trust, we thank you so much. And definitely we trust all efforts and hands-on here in order to achieve a difference from COP27, the very special COP. An African COP, a global COP of course, but Egypt speaking the voice of Africa. Stay tuned for more coming your way here on Nile TV International. Thank you.